Well, hey everybody, welcome to Thursday's edition of The Breakfast Club. Got that funk here. I want to thank you for joining me. This week, the NFL has decided to change the rules regarding how the National Anthem is dealt with before a football game commences in the upcoming football season this autumn. As everybody who's acquainted with American football will know, for the past couple of seasons, some players have been kneeling during the national anthem as a form of protest against police brutality in general, and more specifically, the number of African Americans who are unarmed who are getting killed by police. They want this issue addressed, they want to bring attention to the issue, and so forth, and so they're demonstrating by kneeling, respectfully, silently kneeling during the national anthem. And as everyone will know already, these arguments are well rehearsed. Some people say, oh, they're disrespecting the flag, or, they're disrespecting America, blah, blah, blah. When clearly, the goal of the protest, as articulated by the people who are doing the protest, is against police brutality, against the killing of unarmed civilians by the police, and so forth, and to try to inspire social dialogue about that, and hopefully therefore enact changes to make things a little bit safer for people who are being victimized by the police unnecessarily. Because quite frankly, in my opinion, if you kill someone who is unarmed, you've overreacted. That's just my opinion. I should qualify that. If you kill someone who is unarmed, who is not trying to kill you, you've overreacted. All right, so there's that. Anyway, and way too often the police who do these types of things end up facing no criminal charges. Lots of them don't even see a day in court. And if that was my loved one who was killed by a police officer, I can understand the anguish and the feeling that they have not had justice. So I think it's important that this issue is addressed, and I think the football players deserve not only our understanding, but our respect and support for this protest, because the protest itself is entirely peaceful. Now, I understand there are some people who bitch about it, saying, sporting events are entertainment. Entertainment is not a place for political protest, and so forth. I just call bullshit. There's no such thing as a place that's not appropriate for political protest. Some places are. We allow protests at fucking funerals, for fuck's sake. Right? That's constitutionally protected free speech. As regards football games, I can't help but be suspicious that many of the people who complain about the players who take a knee are really complaining because they don't want to face the reality that something needs to be done about this issue. They would rather just pretend that everything is great and that there is no problem, etc., etc., etc. What I find most disturbing about people who object to the players who take a knee is a lot of these same people profess themselves to be sort of free speech warriors, and one would therefore assume that they should be more sympathetic or supportive toward the players who decide to take a knee. That's where I stand. My attitude is, if a peaceful protest is not harming anybody, let them protest. It doesn't even matter if I agree with the issue or not. Your right to protest is guaranteed, and I therefore support your protest, your right to protest, whether or not I support the goal of your protest. So for me, it's a simple matter of free speech. And when people, often on the right-hand side of the political spectrum, go off on a tangent about how these men are disrespecting the flag, or, insulting our soldiers who died for our freedom and all this kind of crap, pure red herring, total bullshit, and you don't fool anybody with that argument, because you're not talking about what they're talking about. You're talking about something else. You're trying to turn the argument into something else. And even if your argument was true, coercing people into showing some kind of respect for a flag or a song isn't actually giving the flag or a song respect. You're just going through the motions. What good does that do? It makes the people watching it feel better. It doesn't actually solve a goddamn thing. It doesn't increase patriotism. If anything, it probably increases enmity toward that which one is supposed to feel patriotic. So I think the whole thing is basically doomed from the get-go, and I really feel that the the players in the NFL, who are like 4 out of 5 players in the NFL, are African American. And that being the case, they actually have the power in this situation if they agreed to sort of pull the whole organization together from the players on up. They could just all sit in a locker room and really prove a point. It'll be interesting to see how this all unfolds come the autumn. In the meantime, as I say, a peaceful protest, non-violent peaceful protest, I always support the right to do that. And I don't really see why this issue needs to be dealt with in this way, rather than the NFL acting like some sort of, I don't know, it's beyond being a boss. It's beyond being an employer. It's more to do with control. And the history of African Americans in the USA is that they have always had outside entities trying to control them, and in particular when it comes to their freedom of speech, in particular when it comes to them standing up for better conditions for their community. So I find opposition to TakeAKnee disturbing, at least, and insidious at worst. I'd like to hear what you all think about it in the comment section down below. Tomorrow here on The Breakfast Club, we should have Bionic Dance in with her monthly installments, and I look forward to seeing what she's got to say and about what. JJ Talks will be here on Saturday in any event, and I'll see you again next week. Until next time, thanks for watching. Be kind to yourself.